Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jagged and Lights Anonymous. I'm Lee Taylor, and joining me in agony and all things cars and crazy is Ollie Anthony in Brisbane. And behind the buttons and knobs, which you can't not see in the background, is Borkov Zelenov. So, how you going, Ollie?
I'm doing pretty well, Lee. What's been happening with you, car-wise?
Car-wise has been pretty slow actually, because I've been getting ready to go on a move. So I'm heading properly back to Melbourne. So I actually have more cars available to us once I get there out of Adelaide. And the Ford Fiesta is going to get loaded down like a pack mule. And I've looked today, and they just can't hold enough. So it's going to be very interesting. The 8-hour
You
drive.
could always go tow bar and trailer.
Yeah, but then the trailer's going to weigh more than the Fiesta does.
A weird spectacle, if nothing else, right?
Absolutely. I think I did look at getting a roof box, and then I realized the roof box is like as much as renting a van, but then that doesn't solve the problem of the car not being there. So it's going to be interesting. We'll have to get myself, my large dog, Daytona, and as much of my crap that we can muster into the Fiesta, and then we'll still have to do a van at this point. But,
Yeah, that's it.
such
Well, on
is
the
life.
vans, yeah, we've just had the PV5 from
Yeah.
Hyundai, which is their first electric van. So that was really exciting, actually. I thought it was going to be really boring and just not interesting at all, but it was actually a really cool van. Probably not going to get the whole review from it. We're probably just going to do some shorts, but that's really exciting. Like, it's really interesting proposition rather than just having a big old diesel van. Drives like a car, really does. Really, really cool. So maybe you can get one of those. I don't know. But
Yeah, you've had a couple of interesting cars this week, or last few weeks actually, because I had the joy of the iX3, which is up on the channel, and then you've had the PV5, the Kia, and then you've also recently had a Magma, the GV60 Genesis.
yeah, I've still got that now. That goes back tomorrow, and there will be tears when that goes back because I'm smitten with that car, and I'm just editing the video like we spoke about at the moment. So it'll be a couple of weeks probably before it comes out. But yeah, there's a picture of it on screen there. And that's my baby now. I don't want it to go. I love it so much, honestly. Yeah, there's been two cars this year that I've really loved, and one was the Mini that we drove a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, and then this thing is just incredible. It does everything. It's so. I'm not going to spoil the whole review, but there was some swearing, and yeah, it's an awesome bit of kit, that car. It's a really, really cool car. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. And I know you've been obviously looking at the iX3, which, like you said, is up on the channel, which has done really well. It seems like there's been a lot of interest on that car. And one of the things I wanted to do today, if it's all right with you and everyone listening and watching, is go through some of the questions that people on the Facebook group have been asking. So I posted the review in the Facebook group for iX3s, and there's been a really big response to it. So we thought we'd just spend a bit of time today going through those questions and getting some feedback. Now, you've had no prompts on this at all, Lee, so it'll be interesting to just get your true feedback on it.
This has been all
Which
you,
would-
so
Yeah,
we're winging it.
yeah, one of the questions we had was, would you buy it over a Tesla Model Y long range? It's closest
Oh,
match and 20K cheaper on the road.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of opinions about Tesla. Don't know why that choked me up. Couldn't breathe. Jeez. It's like Elon's like, don't talk bad about me. I'm going to get you. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Tesla to begin with. And I think they have really cool cars. Not the Model S was a really cool revolutionary thing in its time, but as a car maker, they're not my favorite. And they never have been. So yeah, I would 100% drive, or I want a iX3 over a Tesla. I wanted the old iX3 over a Tesla, and that was before this massive platform update. And this is, a completely different car with completely different feel to it, systems. It's miles ahead of anything that BMW has done before. So if you want to compare apple to apples, I don't think you can compare a Model Y to this. So
Yeah,
I
it's a
would
bit of a
definitely have
different
it's
thing.
worth more.
Even price point, it's a fair
Mm.
bit less, isn't it? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think the Model Y starts around 90 for the performance model, and BMW is going in with, I think, around 90 for their, or 80 something for their 40, which is the rear-wheel drive only model, and then 110 or 109. We have 110 for the X-Drive, which is the one we saw. So it's definitely worth the bump, I think.
Or just spend a little bit more and you can have the lovely Genesis GV60 Magma.
Yeah, different car again. Yeah.
Not that I'm biased at the moment or anything, but yeah, there's that. So
What else
you
we
actually
got?
just touched on really nice transition to the next question, which is from a guy called Aiden Toe, and he said, "I would like to hear about the 40 because that's the one that falls under the FPT threshold." So yeah, I know you. I think on the day there was only the 50 there from memory, but I don't know if it sounds like you got a bit of information about the 40, i.e., only being 4-wheel drive. So if you've got anything else to say about that, what do you reckon?
Yeah, so the two models that are coming over are almost exactly the same as far as fit and finish is concerned. So the 40, the iX3 40, I'll make sure I got the name right here. Yeah. And the iX350 X-Drive, which is the one that we drove on the press day, come standard with all the same equipment out of the box. So we get the M Sport package that's available overseas as standard across the 40 and the 50. The only difference between the two cars is battery and motor output. So the 40 has a smaller motor. It's got, I think, a 82.6 kilowatt battery capacity. So therefore has a smaller range, so around 635 WLTP, which is still a lot. But then everything else is the same. I mean, it does have the same wheelbase, charging capability, all of that.
So
it
it's
has the same
actually
equipment.
battery's the same on the 40 and the 50. It's just the motor's power, the output's higher on the
Not quite. So
50.
there is a different battery capacity. So the 50 X-Drive has a 108.7 kilowatt hour battery, which is huge.
It is,
that
yeah.
gives it, the 800 kilometer range. And then the 40 has the 82.6 kilowatt hour battery. So it's a slightly smaller battery, but you still get 635 kilowatt hours of range. You still get the 800 volt architecture. You still get the fast charging capability up to 400 kilowatts. So performance wise, you are losing the battery capacity, but you're not compromising on anything else on the platform because it's the same suspension system and that sort of thing. The output obviously is different. There's a significant difference in power. By no means is the 40 slow. The 40 still has 500 Newton meters of torque. Like it's not going to be slow. I think they said it's like 5.9 to 60 or to 100 rather. So it's still going to be quite quick. The X-Drive just takes that driving experience to another level when you're in it. But otherwise,
yeah, okay,
same.
Yeah, nice. The next one, I'm not going to say who this was because they actually inboxed me directly, so I think they wanted to keep it kind of quiet.
Yeah.
This person has looks like a G80 3 Series of some sort, and he's got the M seats. And he's got similar issues to I know what I have, and I think you've said the same thing before, is when you drive long distances, you get a sore lower back like, a lot of the time. I know I do because that's just, I'm old. And he said he has that in the current M seats, which I love, by the way. I think they're some of the best seats out there, which we've spoken about to nauseum in other seats. But he wanted, they're looking at specking the iX3 at the moment, and they didn't know whether or not they should go with the M Sport seats or stick with the standard seats, because he just wanted to, he was actually asking a specific question about softness in terms of comfort. But I don't know if you even thought about that or have any thoughts around that, because I know it's a really specific question.
Yeah, I think if he's here in Australia, then we'll get the M Sport seat standard, the 8-way sport seat standard, and that comes with the massage function and all of that in the car as well, which is quite vigorous, by the way. It's a very German massage in that massage setting.
They're not known for their massages, are they, the Germans?
No, I don't think so. I think but it is very good. Like it's a very good massage. There's tons of different settings in there as well, and that's in the standard 8-way seat. You can spec the 10-way, what they're calling the M Sport Pro seat, which comes with the Pro package, and that's the with a different steering wheel and all of that. And that also still gets the massage function in that Pro seat. the car I drove, both the cars I drove actually on the day had the standard the M Sport seat, the 8-way adjustable seat, and they were very comfortable. I think trying to think if I was sore on the way back to the airport. No, they were pretty good. We were in the cars for I think a total of about 5 hours in the end, and most of it was driving. Well, half of it was driving quite twisty roads around Byron. The other part of it was driving motorway, and the massage function definitely did come on about halfway through. And I don't remember them being super plush. Like when I think about like Volvo seats or some of the old Mercedes seats that were like couches for seats. Like the EV5 is a great example of a couch seat. Very, very
My
plush.
dentist chair.
A dentist chair
Oh,
moves a wild range of movement in that chair. So I don't remember them being super soft or like couch like, but I do remember them being quite supportive, and they were not um they weren't firm or they didn't make me sore at any point. Well, I have been in seats before where, you get into like hour 2 or 3 of the drive and you're like, "Oh my god, my back hurts. What am I doing here?" I have that in my Fiesta. I get about 2 hours in, I might need to get out of this Recaro because it's just a bit too much, for a long distance. But I didn't feel that way in the iX3. I would recommend, though, if you're going to a dealer, they should, at this point, have a M Sport Pro seat and a non-pro seat in a car somewhere.
yeah, they would try.
So
That was the exact problem they had. They didn't have access to both, so that's
mm,
why they were asking the question. So it's
yeah,
yeah, that's a good tip, but they didn't have them available when he was looking to buy it.
and there won't be a difference in the 40 seats. So even if it's a 40 and not a 50 X drive, the base seat will be the same.
Mm.
But if the M Sport seat will be different. I remember the M Sport seat looked a lot different, and it was a lot more what's the right word? It was more bolstering. It had more of the active bolsters as well, from memory. I think I'll have to double check that. But
Yeah, the 10 ways. I did read the
yeah,
specs on it, so I remember the 10 ways had a bit more on it. So there you go.
can't
And
help that
then
one too much. Sorry.
no, it's like a lot. I struggled to answer that question too because yeah. I personally think I really like BMW seats. I know we've spoken about that a lot, so it's a difficult one to answer. But what I also came to the conclusion was if you didn't have anything major to say about the seats, is that they're usually pretty good
Mm.
because do you know what I mean? If there's not a huge difference between the
Oh
two.
yeah,
Like if you got into a bucket, for example,
yeah,
and you sat there for 3 hours, you're gonna know about it compared to a standard seat. So it's
yeah. If he's coming
yeah.
out of a G Series 3, and not an M3. So the M3 carbon seats are quite aggressive. They are still fine long distance, but they are very aggressive in like the rake and the bolstering, and that can be uncomfortable for people. But if you're in a standard M Sport seat in a G Series or G era 3 Series, and you're in the M Sport seat, it won't be any worse than that. I remember, yeah, like you said, but I didn't remember much about the seat, so the seat was obviously good. Or we've been in cars before we get, it's like, oh my God, this is a couch. And then you can't get out of it at the end, or you get in something rock hard. You're like, sitting on a school bench. But yeah, I wish I could give a bit more insight in there, but the massage function will help if you don't mind getting your lower back kneaded very aggressively.
Yeah, that does help. And yeah, with what's the car that springs to mind is that Ionic 9 that we had that had a massage
Oh
in and
yeah.
on the lower back. It like, yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So anyway, I guess that's enough seat talk because yeah, we're gonna be sending everyone to sleep. The the next one was about steering wheels, which is they're quite
Mm,
controversial, right? So the one that
mm,
the standard one is the weird 4 one, isn't it? With the 4 spokes. It looks
yes.
like it's the
Yep.
right way up and upside down at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, and then you've got is the upgraded one. Will you explain the range and the
Yeah, so there's
controversy around
there's
it?
there's actually three wheels available in this car. So two of them are the same wheel but different color. So you've got the standard sport steering wheel, which is the funky four spoke, looks like the thing that pops out of the side of the wall in Star Wars in the trash can scene. Talking about the red eye.
I know,
It looks like
yeah.
that. Um, and then you've got the individual steering wheel, which comes with the white bicolor interior. So that's a bit softer leather. It does feel a bit in the hand, but the shape and of the wheel is the same. And then you've got the M steering wheel, which is available in the M Sport Pro package. I drove both of the iX3s I drove had the sports steering wheel, it's the 4-spoke one. And visually, I'm not a massive fan. It does look better in person, but visually, it's why it looks like there's lock on when there isn't, and that kind of throws me off a little bit, visually speaking. But when you actually have it in your hand, you're driving it, and you're using the controls, it's really good. I mean, really good. Like, it feels great. It's the right size. It actually molds to your hands well. The controls are very intuitive. They're haptic, but they're also quite it's a mix of haptic and touch, physical. So they're very responsive. So they don't just come on when you wipe your hand across it like some of the haptic stuff. So looks wise, feel wise, probably the best BMW steering wheel there's been in 10 years or more. Because I've constantly complained about how overly grippy and girthy these damn things are. I mean, there's no reason for me to have, a steering wheel that's this big. Like, it's stupid. So it does help with feel as well. Like, the car feels physically more communicative in a smaller wheel. And I remember getting in and immediately putting my hands on it and being like, this actually feels really good. And when you're driving, it actually helps with communication with the car, and you do feel that difference. If they had put that chunky steering wheel in the iX3, firstly, it probably wouldn't work from like a design and look perspective, and secondly, I would have been immediately annoyed.
Did you
Even more
find the
so.
spoke at the spoke at the top blocked the view of some of the dials?
No,
Or
you
not?
don't, because the panoramic
No?
iDrive. So with the
Okay.
panoramic iDrive, everything's up next to the windshield. So if you haven't had a chance to look at our review, definitely do, because there's some good footage of that. It's pretty much, it's all leather in front of the wheel, and it's kind of like the Mini as well, where there's nothing really in front of the wheel, and then up on the bottom of the windscreen, projected onto that strip, is incredibly high quality graphics, your gauge clusters, your maps if you want them up there, and other things all the way across. And it's actually better than a cluster down below and between the spokes, because instead of looking down at the cluster and back up at the road, you get very used to just looking through the windshield and having everything in your peripheral. And it's very clean, very easy to use, and probably one of the best uses of modern tech to create a phenomenal gauge cluster. I mean, I've always loved BMW's heads-up displays. I thought they've had some of the best from day one. But I actually turned, because it also has a heads-up display, I ended up turning the heads-up display off because it was just redundant to what was on the iDrive on panoramic vision, because it was that good.
I remember we saw it on the release shots for the saloon thing. Do you know the thing? I can't remember what it's called now. It wasn't the new 3 Series, was it? It was like the iX3. I can't remember what it's bloody called. It'd be the i3 maybe. Yeah, that's it.
i3.
Yeah, we saw that on those press shots, and that looked pretty cool. And even in the video, it looked amazing. So I'm glad that's translated through, because sometimes people reinvent the wheel, excuse the pun, but then that's what they've done with the steering wheel, right?
Ironically.
And it just doesn't work. But yeah, and I'm thinking Tesla, just one single binnacle in the middle, or what's that? Ineos with a Grenadier, when they've done the same sort of thing. There's no panel in front of you, and like, we don't just give us a gauge cluster or whatever. But if that's genuinely, from what you said, sounds like it's better, which is great.
With electric car, you don't have as many things to worry about, right? So you're not necessarily worried about temps. You're not necessarily worried about oil pressure, things like that as car nuts like to see or have within general vision. With the EVs, it's like, how fast am I going? What systems, like safety systems or speed limiters, is running, and maybe sat nav, maybe.
Well, you say that,
it's so good,
and that's a nice transition actually onto the next topic, because there are a few questions there, but they're really, really detailed. So just again, massive thank you to the BMW iX3 Australia and New Zealand group, because they loved the review, and they've asked heaps of really detailed questions about the tech, which I think we'll go into if we get an iX3 for a week from BMW. Obviously you're going to be in Melbourne, so maybe we can set that up and answer those questions in a bit more detail.
Yeah, I'd love to send them a video 1-to-1, and maybe reach out to the guys and be like, hey guys, here's a video for your group, because like, if they've got a ton of questions, I'm always happy to have a chat. I probably chat too much.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I've been answering a few in there too, and it's really engaged group. And there's some specs of cars like this lady here. She's got an iX3 50 in white M Sport Pro pack with 20-inch wheels and black
Nice.
interior. So yeah, there's a few bits.
Nice.
There's loads happening. So that's great. But just on what you said, going back to what you said about temperatures and things, in the GV60, it has all of that. And I didn't even realize, like you said, there was this
Oh
much
yeah, yeah.
info for an EV. Obviously, it being track focused and coming from the Ioniq 5N, that platform being pushed over to the GV60 Magma, it's been designed so that it can do 2 laps to the Nürburgring at full power without it. Like most EVs, they'll throttle down as soon as when the battery gets hot or the motors get hot, they throttle down the experience straight away. So I love that on the Magma, that it gives you all that information as a car nut. And also it did make me realize as well is that, yeah, like you said, with an EV, there's nothing to worry about. It's literally, you've got a battery and 2 motors and that's it. And the thing just goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like seeing the interior. I think there is an interior shot we've got, but it's
In the
I like all
in the
that.
iX3, and when you're in sport mode in the iX3, so the panoramic iDrive can be changed between drive modes. And in sport mode, you actually can ask for certain things on the panoramic iDrive, and it will show you like revolutions of the motor, which is pretty cool to see. It'll show you battery temp and that sort of thing. So you get some of that kind of nerdy things in the iX3 too. So I reckon when the M version of that platform, Neue Klasse, comes out, we're going to get a lot of stuff you see in the Ioniq and the Magma.
Yeah, cool. No, that would be awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that myself.
Well, they CarWow have just done a review of the new M3. So yeah, it's new class M3. So that's worth going and have a look at because it looks very different and it's all electric. So it's going to be polarizing, that one. But Alex just put up a photo. It was a bit of a sneak shot of something else I wanted to talk about. This is something that I really didn't like on the Genesis front. So you can see there, we've got this orange crystal ball thing, right? So this is
full
really
circle on the trash can machine.
Yeah,
the trash can personality.
Yeah, looks like R2D2's head, right? So when you push start, it flips over and it's really cool. It's really cool. But you can see in front of it, you've got that iDrive jobby. It looks like the iDrive thing. So that controls the screen, which is really nice, and it works and all the rest of it. But I spoke to you about this the other day. I was driving, and obviously you're in D on that thing, and both things work in the same way. So they both twist, so you can't really see it until the thing R2D2 spins over.
Okay, yeah.
But if you're not paying attention and you just reach down, you could very easily just spin the thing to reverse. Now I know that there's software in place that it's not just going to go into reverse at 100 k's an hour or whatever, but it's if you were at the stoplights and you just reach down to do it, you could very easily just put it into reverse by mistake, and yeah, it would be easy mistake to make because they both work in the same way.
I can't remember which car it was. I can't remember if it was a Genesis or if it was a Hyundai or if it was a Kia, but one of them we had a couple of years ago, and it had a similar arrangement to this. I reckon it was a GV90 or GV70, and it had the gear selector where the orb is, and the infotainment control. And I think I got in it at least 3 or 4 times and spun the infotainment control trying to get into gear instead of putting it in gear.
Yeah, that's it.
It just kind of fell right in my hand.
Yeah. Well, I did the same thing. I was just driving along, reached down and twizzled the jobby to the gear selector when I was trying to do something else. Luckily, I turned it to D anyway. I was trying to push it into D more, but I was thinking, this is crazy. It's like, that to me was a bit of an oversight. And also, I found you have to adjust your technique to click with that too. Because at first I was sort of just pushing the top and it didn't work properly. You sort of have to hold the whole thing and click it down. Anyway, but it's touch screen anyway, so you can just go and touch it on the screen and it's a bit easier. But yeah, that was a bit of an oversight on that. But otherwise, that car I absolutely love. And we've had, a really good response from the Ioniq. This is an interesting group name. Ioniq 5N, 6N, GV60 Magma owners group. So I just put a post up and said, do you have any questions on this? And there was quite a nice post from Hugh Lamb who said, well, I've given it the nickname of Mullet instead. Looking at the business in the front and party in the back, which did make me laugh because it's got the wing on the back. I don't know if we've got the exterior shot here as well, but that one made me laugh as well. And then a few other people were shocked that it was a Magma because they didn't realize. And in the white, it can look a bit more subtle as well at first glance. When you look at it a bit more closely, you kind of go, oh, it's got the wing on the back. It's got the orange Magma colored brake discs. And if you look through the windscreen, there's a couple of little orange accents as well. But yeah, it's a fantastic car, and I'm absolutely stoked with it so far. And like I said earlier, I really don't want to give it back. I really want to buy one. I really, really want to buy one. But yeah, you're going to have to get. I really want to do a comparison between that and the Ioniq 5 or the Ioniq 6N. I think that would be a really, really good video. Maybe on track. We'll have to see if we can set something up with Hyundai because I think that would be amazing. But yeah, it's effectively an Ioniq 5N just plus. I think I say on steroids in the review because it's nuts. I cannot believe it's probably the fastest car I've ever driven. Around town, up to 120 k's. I mean up to 110 k's. It's absolutely just bananas. It's bananas, that thing. But yeah.
I was reading about the platform whenever we booked it in for Brisbane for you, and I didn't realize that I knew it was an Ioniq 5N platform, but it's actually physically shorter and slightly wider than the 5N. And Genesis has gone through a massive, change and want to realign the Magma brand. They've also now joined hypercar class and endurance racing, so I'm already a fan. But it's a really cool exercise on what you can do with a car with some software and some minor hardware tweaks. I mean, it's sharing a lot of stuff, but it's a very different car to the 5N.
It's a lot more. I've described it as sophisticated. It's a lot more sophisticated, and it's almost two cars in one. Yes, it's another $20,000-$30,000, but it is an extra car because you can drive it anywhere. Like Ioniq 5N outside a really luxury hotel or something, you're going to look a bit of a knob probably in the wrong color, especially. But in that, it fits in. It fits in everywhere.
So would you have the orange?
I want to see it in person, but my thought is yes. I like the orange. I did like the orange. And it's more so, and I talk about this in the review too. It's more that I don't really know how to maintain matte paint because it's just annoying. And even if you rub it, it polishes it, and it makes it become not matte, so that's a bit annoying too. So, but yeah, orange is the launch color. That's I'm leaning towards it now for sure. But yeah, it's a great bit of kit, and look, other than that, the only other thing I would say that's a bit of a challenge is the range isn't that good. I think the WLTP is over 400, but you're not going to get that if you drive it properly because you drive it like a lunatic. It's not even on purpose. You just think you're driving normally because it's so capable, and then you look down and you go, "Oh, I'm exactly at the speed limit." And
plus.
No, just at the speed limit. Just at the
sure. Sure, you were.
But yeah, it does make it. It encourages you to go faster a lot, like a lot of fast cars do. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, shall we do some news and then we'll check out? Keep it nice and short because we haven't really touched on this either. Is that we missed our last podcast because I think you'd just come off the iX3 launch and then you'd lost your voice probably because you've been shouting so much about how good the iX3 is, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that. I think can't give away too much of my life now. So I came off iX3 and immediately grabbed some sort of flu thing off the plane, like I was gross. So we did miss that, and then life was just happening, so we didn't get around to it. But I think this kind of format's pretty good. Gives us a chance to kind of chat to people who are actually quite interested in the cars that we're seeing. So great to have the groups give us some Q&A and give us a little bit of engagement besides just giving each other crap all the time.
And look, if that's a note to everybody listening and watching, is that if you do have any questions, shoot them through. You can email us. The emails will be in the description. And even if you want to abuse us, that's fine as well. And they send some things through.
Careful, we might like it.
Yeah, exactly. So
news. What have you got for us?
News. Well, look, there's been a few things that have happened, but nothing too innovative. The big one that jumped out at me was the new Patrol. So
Mm.
I've got a photo of that in the drive at the minute, and yeah, it's got the highlights on there of what it's got that's new. First one is obviously that it's a V6 from a V8. Just a quick notice out to everybody: if you still want the V8, I have looked. There are some new ones available still, and you might even be able to get a bit of a deal at the moment as well. So go and have a look at that if you're not bothered on the new one. The new one, I think it looks quite like an Escalade. What do you think?
Yeah, it's giving Escalade vibes. I think this platform's live in the States already or will be
It
shortly.
is. Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and from what I remember, it's well liked. The VQ engine they're using is a common engine in the Nissan platform, so I'm not surprised they've gone that route. But it looks very Escalade-ish, and that's a lot of car in general. It's a big car. The Patrol's a big car to begin with, but the certain class of people don't mind it the driving. Or if you just need one, if you're out in the rural areas, it's actually quite a good car. I've got a couple of friends that have them. I got a friend who's got a Warrior, which he loves. Um, but it looks pretty good. It's just, I don't know. It looks like every other boxy SUV to me. I think they're interesting, that they're the tech wise and what they're doing to it, but it doesn't do anything for me
Well, there's a
otherwise.
couple of bits. Look, yeah, there's a couple of bits that really stand out. I was just comparing it to the old one to the new one, because it is a step forward. Because that last one has been around for about, I don't know what, 50,000 years, roughly, something like that.
Since the original Dynasty, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So this one obviously it's got the V6 and the 9-speed auto, so I'm sure that'll be much better. Adaptive air suspension, so that's pretty cool. I think the old one was springs or coilovers from
Yeah, I
memory,
can't
so
remember.
having air suspension would be great. This was pretty cool as well. So there's a couple of things here. It has biometric cooling. So
What?
what that yeah, so apparently it can, and this is a guess, but I'm guessing it has an infrared camera and it can tell how hot or cold that you are, and then it will adjust the climate control based on your temperature and it will just do it automatically. So I thought that was pretty cool. It also had something called zero gravity massage seats. So we
Oh,
know
I've
we
heard
love a
about these.
seat
Yeah.
here. But yeah, effectively the zero gravity. So I've sat in other seats that are like that, and it makes you feel like you're floating effectively is the goal. But there's some clever stuff that they do.
I don't know how I feel about that. I know you love a cushy seat, and I don't. I don't mind the cushy seat, but I want to be able to feel what's happening with the car through my butt. And I don't know that I like the idea that a floating barge is already going to make me feel floaty. Or sounds like a recipe for car sickness to me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. So there you go. So that was just something a bit different. Big screen in there, 14-inch screen. A lot of people are doing that now. Heads up display. People are doing that. I never heard of this brand either. Clip. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Audio.
Spell it.
Sick. Sorry.
Spell it.
Klipsch.
Klish.
Yeah.
Klish.
I don't know. I've never heard of it before. I'm sure it's really good though. And yeah,
Sounds like a
12-speaker
cough.
audio system. So they're not actually. You can't buy one at the moment. They're just taking. Yeah, you can register your interest if you want to do that for the patrols. I don't know how much they're going to cost. They're looking at first quarter of 2027 for deliveries. But yeah, there you go. New Nissan Patrol. And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about really was the Chinese car brands. So a piece of news that picked out for me was GWM have now sold 250,000 cars in Australia. So if that's not a sign that the Chinese brands are here to stay and are in a lot of ways taking over, yeah, there's a few other things I saw that got launched. So I saw like the new smart car had been launched and the new Audi Q9, and I'm just thinking that's not really a big story when you think, GWM are selling 250,000 cars, right?
I think they've done well in the Chinese brands have done really well in addressing kind of the pragmatic market, because Australia is a very pragmatic market. I mean, the US is a lot different as far as like population, as well as there is definitely a market of want to be seen in XYZ car. But typically speaking, the market in Australia is incredibly pragmatic. So if you've got a car that does a good job, it feels okay, and it's at a good price, you're going to sell pretty well most of the time. And GWM primarily does SUVs and Utes, and
Yeah,
that's
stuff
the
people
biggest
want.
part of the market. Are they
Yeah, and
amazing? No, not particularly, but they're not horrible.
It's just
So
car, isn't it? It's just
yeah, it's
6 out of 10.
it's
Cheap
paper.
price point.
So I can
Yeah.
talk about the Camry, and I haven't driven a new Camry, which is apparently a lot better. But the way I equate a Camry or a Corolla is that it's the automotive equivalent of an A4 paper. It's fantastic. It does what you need it to do, but it's just kind of there. There's not much else to it.
So do you know what's really interesting though is the UK market is not like that. So they are very brand driven. So they love Range Rover, they love Mercedes, anything German, VW. I think they sell more German cars in the UK than anywhere else in Europe, including Germany. That I
Won't
might have
surprise
just
me.
made that up, but there we go. We'll go with it. But very brand driven, and even there, they're selling a lot of these Chinese cars because I think you just can't look past them. What would you rather do? Spend $150,000 on a BMW, or you can go and buy a Chinese car that does the same sort of thing for 70, 80 grand. You or me are going to say BMW, and car guys are going to say BMW, but it looks like the market is shifting away to these Chinese brands at the moment.
It just depends on what you want. If you want good, if you're looking for a specific quality point or for a specific name brand, then yeah. But if you're like a lot of people, when they just need an A and B car at an affordable price and they want it new, then the Chinese brands are definitely scooping up that part of the market. Part of the market that car brands like Hyundai and Mitsubishi used to own, now don't, because they just can't be competitive.
It's just I used the term all the time. I think the Chinese cars, they're just white goods. That's it. It's a white good. It's a
washing machine.
Yeah, that's it. But that's how people are looking at buying these cars. They're not thinking, oh, can I, buy something that's aspirational? Well, I might buy, whatever, A43 AMG rather than the A45 or 35, whatever, but now they just go, oh, we'll just buy a GWM, whatever. It's the same. It does the same thing. It gets me where I want to go. So, which is a bit sad, isn't it? So, but I thought that was an interesting point. Anyway, and yeah, you've got a piece of news as well, which is for
similarly attached. So, like Mitsubishi's known for their affordable small SUVs, or they used to be known for that. In the last few years, we've seen the ASX do really well, but it's also become not as affordable anymore. The new one's a shared platform with Renault, and the car's a bit more expensive. A lot of the Mitsubishis have become a bit more expensive, but they've just announced their first EV for our market, which is the VRE, so the ASX VRE. I think it looks pretty good.
It looks cool. That looks really cool.
Great looking car, and it's a collaboration with a Taiwanese manufacturer called Foxtron. That might sound familiar because they make iPhones.
Oh wow! Okay,
the parent company manufactures iPhones. So this is going to be the first foray of a modern EV for Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi was the first company to put an EV in Australia with the Maya of like 20 years ago. A tiny little golf cart looking thing. Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a bean. Yeah.
It's not pretty, but it was a pretty wild thing at its time.
That was innovative for its time. Yeah.
100%. And this is the first EV since. So they haven't released any formal range figures or costings yet, but it is going to wear the ASX badge, but it's wearing the legacy name of VR. So it's harking back to the VR4s of like the Galant and 3000 GT FTO days, that sort of thing. So they'll probably get, I believe it'll be all-wheel drive from memory. And it'd be a couple of different versions. I said there'll be like a entry-level model, it'd be an Exceed model, which is like the high-end model, and Mitsubishi ran the GSR, which is a sportier model. That's pretty much all they've said. But it's a pretty cool looking car. I think it's exciting to see the ASX name coming back with something that's not necessarily a common shared platform.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an ASX, does it? It looks like a hatch, not a small SUV.
Yeah, it's about the size, I reckon. It'll be around the size of like a hatchback. It'll be a small SUV sort of size. It'll be definitely smaller than the Outlander. Maybe a bit smaller.
It looks like a hatch rather than an ASX. That's more.
Yeah,
I think what I mean.
And the ASX was always kind of the little funky pseudo hatch, pseudo SUV thing. My only concern for this is that what the price is going to be.
Yeah, it'll be big money, won't it? But we'll figure that one out when it comes in. So yeah, we've got that. No petrol versions, just all EV.
Nope, it'll be an EV only. This one.
Okay. Interesting.
So
Yeah,
they
okay.
keep an eye for that one later in the year, apparently.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to see. We'll see if we can get hands on one of them.
Mhm.
But yeah. So any more news, Lee? Or are you
I
done?
think that's it on news for now. We've got a quick one today, and that's pretty much all I had written down to chat about.
Yes. So in terms of what's happening next, obviously we've got the GV60 Magma review coming up shortly, and we've got some Kia PV5 content coming out too, probably in the form of some shorts. Lee, what have you got anything that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, we've got quite a few
Review-wise?
cars booked in for the next few weeks. So we've got a few Hyundais and Genesis and Kias. Waiting to hear on when we'll get the iX3 for a longer week. We'd like to do a range test on that, but we're just trying to get that sorted out. And then we're chatting to a couple of other brands and, maybe use some motorcycle content for you, Mr. Anthony, soon. So
Yeah, well,
fingers
I think you'll be
crossed.
involved in that too. You'll be involved in that too,
True.
definitely. Yeah, we're working on a few ideas with some motorcycle brands. So yeah, if you got any questions about that or any information that any motorbikes that you want to see reviewed, let us know, because we might have access to pretty much every brand in the motorcycle space, which would be great. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. And look, I think that's it from us this week. So yeah, thanks so much for listening and so much for watching our reviews, because we've had such a boost in content views on our YouTube channel at the moment. Just don't forget, you can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as YouTube, to see what we're getting up to. So we put some photos and things on there. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video and any other videos that you like of ours, and because it really helps the channel and helps support us. And yeah, one day we might actually be able to monetize our channel and make some money.
Yeah, and show us some cool stuff then. Actually get some higher quality footage, I should say.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. All right, guys. Well, look, yeah, thanks for that, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.